Welcome to The Terrible Take, a mini podcast telling Steelers Nation what's on our mind. I'm Josh Carney. As the competition for the starting quarterback job for the Pittsburgh Steelers nears the end, one man continues to remain the odd man out, despite a very strong offseason, training camp, and preseason showing to date. Of course, I'm talking about one Mason Rudolph, who appears to very clearly be the number 3 in Pittsburgh for the time being, behind Mitch Trubisky and rookie Kenny Pickett. Granted, that should not come as much as a surprise, considering the movement the Steelers made at the position in the offseason, with the signing of Trubisky early in free agency and the drafting of Pickett in the first round. Those moves told us everything we needed to know about how the Steelers felt regarding Rudolph and his 10 career starts in the NFL. With the additions of Trubisky and Pickett, Rudolph had the deck stacked against him in the three-way quarterback competition from the get-go, which realistically felt like a two-man race the entire time, even with Rudolph stepping up and performing well on most of his reps in training camp and in the preseason, taking everything in stride. Now, though, he finds himself the odd man out in the black and gold and is drawing some trade interest, at least according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. That makes sense, considering he's a fifth-year veteran in the NFL, has had success on the field, and is on a cheap one-year deal. Right now, he's an expensive third quarterback, at least from the Steelers' perspective. Teams like the Lions, the Seahawks, the Patriots, the Panthers, and the Rams all make sense for Rudolph in any sort of trade, which would likely net the Steelers a 5th or 6th round draft pick. That's all well and good on paper. But if I were Omar Khan, again, I'm not, but if I were Omar Khan, I'm keeping Rudolph on the roster at least until the trade deadline, and most likely throughout the entire 2022 season. That might sound a bit crazy, I know, but based on what the Steelers' rebuilt offensive line has shown, albeit in a relatively small sample size, the Steelers might need all 3 quarterbacks just to get through this season. Is a 5th or 6th round pick that much more valuable to the Steelers in the 2023 or 2024 NFL draft than having Rudolph as an insurance policy in 2022? Maybe. Probably. Most likely, let's be honest. That's a fine argument to make. It's not one I'm going to make, though. There's something to be said about the stability and comfort having Rudolph in the roster in a new-look quarterback room would bring to not only the fan base, but the coaching staff and the front office for the Steelers, all in hopes of avoiding anything transpiring like 2019, when the Steelers were down to 2 quarterbacks with no experience in the NFL 6 quarters into the season. That might sound like me being a doomsday prepper. Sorry, I might be with the Steelers. I don't know what else to tell you. But at the most important position in all of sports, taking an area of strength as far as depth goes and moving it for future picks just doesn't feel like the smart way of operating, at least from the Steelers' perspective. I've fully resigned myself to the fact Mason Rudolph is likely dealt before the start of the regular season. But I'm still holding out hope Omar Khan makes the smart decision and keeps the veteran on the roster. Be sure to follow us at SteelersDepot.com and check out episodes of The Terrible Take every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And check out episodes of The Terrible Podcast with Alex Kozora and Dave Bryan every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.